the deadliest plant on Earth, and why you've probably walked past it. There's a plant growing in gardens across America right now that could kill you with a single seed. Not over weeks, not over days. In less time than it takes to watch this video, your cells would start tearing themselves apart from the inside. The strange part? Thousands of people plant it deliberately every spring, completely unaware they're cultivating one of nature's most perfect killing machines. And here's what keeps me up at night. The government actually tracks its locations like a national security threat, yet you can still buy the seeds online for $3. What makes this plant so terrifying isn't just its lethality, it's that the mechanism it uses to destroy you is so efficient, so precisely engineered by evolution that scientists have literally weaponized it. We're talking about something that makes cyanide look gentle, something that has no antidote, something that kills in a way so specific and brutal that understanding it changed how we think about biological warfare itself. Let me tell you about a man named Georgy Markov. September 7th, 1978, London. A Bulgarian journalist standing at a bus stop on Waterloo Bridge, waiting like he did every morning on his way to work at the BBC. He felt a sharp sting in his thigh, barely noticeable, like a mosquito bite. Behind him, a man with an umbrella muttered an apology and quickly hailed a taxi, disappearing into London traffic. Markov thought nothing of it. By that evening, he had a fever. The next day, his heart rate was catastrophic. 3 days later, he was dead. The autopsy revealed something that would change intelligence operations forever. Embedded in his leg tissue was a tiny pellet smaller than a pinhead, drilled with microscopic holes. Those holes had contained something extracted from a plant. Just 450 micrograms, about the weight of a few grains of salt. That plant was Ricinus communis. You know it as the castor bean plant. And what they extracted from it was ricin, quite possibly the most efficient poison nature has ever created. Now here's where this gets personal for you. I checked the USDA database before writing this script. Castor bean plants are currently documented growing in all 50 U.S. states. They're in public parks, in botanical gardens, in suburban backyards where children play. The ornamental variety, with those beautiful burgundy leaves and striking seed pods, won an award of garden merit from the Royal Horticultural Society. People are winning awards for growing this thing. But why? What makes this plant simultaneously so dangerous and so appealing that we can't seem to leave it alone? The answer reveals something profound about how evolution creates weapons we're only beginning to understand. To understand why ricin is so deadly, you need to know what's happening in your cells right now. Every second, each of your cells is manufacturing proteins, thousands of them. These proteins do everything. They digest your food, fight infections, make you think, make you move, make you, you. The factories that build these proteins are called ribosomes, and you have about 10 million of them in every single cell. Ricin has one job: shut down these factories permanently. Here's the truly diabolical part. It doesn't attack them all at once. It works one ribosome at a time. A single ricin molecule enters a cell, finds a ribosome, and disables it forever with surgical precision. Then it moves to the next one, and the next. A single ricin molecule can destroy 1,500 ribosomes before your body breaks it down. Imagine this. You ingest 1 milligram of ricin. That's about the size of a grain of sand. That tiny amount contains roughly 500 trillion ricin molecules. Each one becomes a serial killer inside your cells, methodically destroying protein factories until your cells simply can't function anymore. Your intestinal cells go first. They die and slough off, causing hemorrhaging. Then your liver cells, your kidney cells. Not because ricin is directly attacking them, but because they're starving for the proteins they need to survive. It's like watching a city collapse when every factory simultaneously shuts down. And here's the nightmare. There's no way to stop it. Every antidote we've developed works by either neutralizing a poison before it acts or blocking its mechanism. Ricin moves too fast and works too specifically.
By the time symptoms appear, thousands of your cells are already past the point of no return. Medical teams can only treat symptoms and hope you ingested a non-lethal dose. But this raises an uncomfortable question. If this plant is so dangerous, why does it exist at all? What evolutionary advantage could possibly come from producing one of the world's most lethal toxins? The castor bean plant has been cultivating a relationship with humans for over 6,000 years, not despite its poison, because of it. Archaeologists found castor seeds in Egyptian tombs dating to 4000 BCE. Ancient Sanskrit and Greek texts describe its medicinal uses. By the medieval period, it was being traded across continents. Today, we commercially cultivate over 1.5 million tons of castor beans annually. Why? Because the same seeds that contain ricin also produce one of the most useful oils known to humanity. Castor oil has a chemical property that makes it invaluable. It remains stable across an enormous temperature range, from well below freezing to over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This makes it perfect for lubricating jet engines, manufacturing biodegradable plastics, producing pharmaceutical-grade laxatives, and even formulating certain cosmetics. The plant essentially made itself indispensable. In evolutionary terms, it hit the jackpot. It created something so toxic that almost nothing eats it in the wild, yet so valuable that the most successful species on Earth cultivates it globally and protects it. But here's the twist that changed everything. In the 1960s, the U.S. military realized something unsettling. They discovered that ricin could be purified, concentrated, and weaponized more easily than almost any other biological agent. Unlike bacteria or viruses, it doesn't require living conditions to remain stable. Unlike most chemical weapons, it's derived from a legal, commercially grown plant. And unlike conventional poisons, microscopic amounts are lethal. In 1978, the year Georgy Markov died, the U.S. Army was simultaneously conducting classified research on ricin aerosols. The concept was chilling. Disperse ricin as a fine mist over enemy positions, invisible, odorless, impossible to detect until symptoms appeared. By then, thousands could be affected, and medical facilities would be overwhelmed with untreatable casualties. The project was eventually abandoned, but the knowledge remained, and that knowledge has resurfaced in disturbing ways. Since 2000, there have been at least 15 documented cases of ricin being used or attempted in terrorist plots, domestic terrorism cases, or assassination attempts in the United States alone. In 2013, letters containing ricin were mailed to President Obama, a U.S. senator, and a Mississippi judge. In 2018, a Navy veteran sent ricin-laced packages to the Pentagon and White House. That same year, a German man was arrested for producing enough ricin to kill over 1,000 people. He'd extracted it from castor beans he purchased legally online. What's deeply unsettling is how simple the extraction process is. I won't detail it here, that would be irresponsible, but the chemistry is undergraduate level. The equipment is standard kitchen materials. The raw ingredient grows ornamentally in gardens worldwide. Security experts call this a low barrier to entry threat. You don't need classified information, you don't need advanced degrees, you don't need access to restricted materials, you just need malicious intent and an internet connection. The FBI maintains a database of castor bean plant locations specifically because of this threat, yet the plant remains legal to grow in most jurisdictions because restricting it would be practically impossible. It grows wild across tropical and subtropical regions. It naturalizes easily. In some parts of the world, it's considered an invasive species precisely because it's so hardy and difficult to eradicate. We've created a bizarre situation where one of the world's deadliest substances comes from a plant we simultaneously cultivate commercially, grow ornamentally, and monitor as a security threat. But this is where the story takes its strangest turn, because scientists are now trying to use ricin's deadly precision to save lives. Remember how ricin works? It targets ribosomes with incredible specificity, destroying them one by one. That precision is exactly what makes it potentially revolutionary for cancer treatment. Cancer cells are just your own cells that have stopped following the normal rules. They grow uncontrollably, they don't die when they should, and they steal resources from healthy tissue. The challenge of cancer treatment has always been the same. How do you kill cancer cells without destroying healthy ones? Enter something called immunotoxins. Researchers have figured out how to attach ricin molecules to antibodies that specifically recognize cancer cells. Think of it like putting a GPS-guided system on a bomb. The antibody part seeks out cancer cells exclusively. Once it binds, the ricin part enters the cell and begins its deadly work, but only in that cell, only in cells marked for destruction. Clinical trials are currently underway for ricin-based immunotoxins targeting leukemia, lymphoma, and certain solid tumors. Early results have shown complete remission in some patients who had run out of conventional treatment options. The irony is overwhelming. We're using one of evolution's most perfect killing mechanisms to heal. But here's something even more fascinating. The castor bean plant might be teaching us something fundamental about how life itself evolved. Ricin belongs to a family of proteins called RIPs, ribosome inactivating